Leaders and healers, gamers and claimers, ladies and gentlemen from around the universe, from around the globe, welcome to the Power, Purpose, and Passion podcast. I am your host, Anthony Cheam, speaker, life coach, author, trainer, musician, singer, songwriter, ready to go, ready to flow, ready to give you the best of what I've learned over the past, decades in living and breathing and reading and attending and diving into my own environment, psychic waters of pain and suffering, as well as love and abundance, and giving you the best of what I've learned throughout my 40 years of being on this planet plus. And I get excited, more excited each and every single day, both excited and exhilarated and exhausted and down at times, because I'm just giving myself so much. But again, I wouldn't have it any other way. And I'm just here to give you what I've learned through my journey, and hopefully it will transform and upgrade your life. So this is a podcast where we help you claim your power, clarify your purpose, and cultivate your deepest, widest, and highest passions possible. So ultimately you can show up as a better, best, more sharpened, wise, more loving person, human being, upgrading, updating your life on a consistent basis. So ultimately, at the end of the day, you are then inspiring others to do the same by your example, by your courage, by your tenacity. So thank you for joining us on this podcast. Let me introduce my power partner in crime there. Not power partner in crime, power partner in rhyme. Cameron from Chatham, Ontario. What's going on, man?
In rhyme. I love it. Yeah, so we were just talking how, you and I are naturally optimistic, even during the dark times, which sometimes, like you said earlier, that you have to learn to be a realist or a pessimist in certain situations. They all have their advantage. So I'm really looking forward to the practical stuff we're going to learn today. And also what these two reasons are. Because I think I could find 1,000 reasons to be an optimist, but that's because I'm an optimist. So.
Well, at the end of the day there, Cam, we all have gone through tough times. We've all suffered. I mean, one of the things that I ask my audiences when I'm speaking in front of audiences is, who in here has suffered? Not a single person doesn't put up their hand, unless they are shy or unless they don't want to be able to participate for whatever reason. But I'm going to go through 3 reasons to be an optimist. Basic reasons, and from a physiological point of view, from a psychological point of view, and from a spiritual point of view as well. But yeah, you're right. There's one thing to be an optimist. There's positives to be an optimist. There's negatives to be an optimist. And then I'll go through that a bit. And there's positives to be a realist, and negatives to be a realist. And there are positives to be a pessimist and negatives to be a pessimist. So they all have different dark qualities and light qualities as well, healthy qualities. But I'm going to go through 3 reasons why I'm an optimist. And my one of my life coaches that I worked with personally, who coached me, she did a few tests on me, and she said, "Wow, there's no doubt you're an eternal optimist, and you see the light in all situations." And then she went through the dark parts of it as well, where it can hinder me from progress and really going and growing integrally. But let me give you through 3 basic reasons why being an optimist is a powerful way to live your life. And there's a book by the name, that's named called Learned Optimism by Marty Seligman. It is a epic book, and I highly recommend it. And he talks about how you can learn to be an optimist, and how powerful it is from a spiritual level, physical levels, emotional level. But from the first point I'm going to make, the first reason to be an optimist is because they done studies on optimists and pessimists, and they discovered that one of the traits of a pessimist, when an optimist does a task and a pessimist does a task, the pessimist will be much more accurate in their evaluation of themselves, and they will kind of say, "Well, I was okay here." And the optimist will way over exaggerate the performance. They'll just kind of say, "Yeah, I did great," when they really didn't do that great. But here's the difference, the major difference is the pessimist won't ever try again, and the optimist will continue to try until they've actually reached that level that they've over exaggerated. So that's one of the key elements, that the optimist will keep on going. There's a lot more resistance to quit, and there's a lot more resistance to how should I say, to beat themselves up, and to turn that resistance into persistence, and to go to the furthest ends as humanly possible to achieve what it is they're after. And so a pessimist, as I said, will be more accurate, but they, for the most part, won't ever try again. Whereas an optimist will over exaggerate the performance, but then they will actually try again. That's the first reason. Second reason, according to research, and I got this from Love, Medicine, and Miracles, and a few other books and a few other things that I'm aware of, studies that I've done. Optimists are actually physically healthier than pessimists. They are physically healthier because number one is their attitude, the words they use. Optimists will oftentimes, in fact, I remember this one study that was done where they study the language of optimists and study the language of pessimists. And one correlation that they found with pessimists is that they're always talking about me and I. It's always about me and I. It's never about you or us or we. And the person that focuses on themselves a lot have higher cases of disease, physical disease, and emotional distress than the person that says, let's work together, let me help you. So again, as Wayne Dyer talks about, he talks about turn your mantra from what's in it for me to how may I serve. And that turnaround in philosophical thinking it will amp up your physiology and increase your immune system by focusing on other people, focusing on service. And it reminds me of the Bible story. And it was asked the question, "What's the key to greatness?" And the response to according to the storyteller is, "Be one who serves many people." Not be one who looks for, hey, how can I get from this person? What's in it for me? And when you focus on other people, you are healthier. And so the language of the optimist, they've discovered that they're all about connecting with other people. They're all about serving other people. They're all about seeing the light in everything and helping other people. And when they do that, their immune system reaches levels. And when a pessimist is diagnosed with a disease versus an optimist, the pessimist might be more accurate. And the optimist might, in some cases, deny it, but the optimist will fight their attitude because their attitude is more positive. They will fight, and they'll have a greater chance of actually overcoming that disease. And the third reason is, as Winston Churchill said, an optimist sees opportunities in calamities, where a pessimist sees calamities in opportunities. So anytime there's a challenge in my life, I see it not even just one of my things that I say in my morning sort of meditation and power session with myself is I say, I turn every challenge into a charge, every adversity into an advantage, every calamity an opportunity, every setback into a setup for a comeback, every problem into a search for solutions. That is who I am. Not to say that I deny my problems. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you can somehow find the opportunity in whatever calamity that shows up in your life, then let me tell you, you're going to live a much, much more expansive life. And by the way, I think I want to talk about what the negatives or the unhealthy things of being an optimist, because in this book, Love, Medicine, and Miracles, Bernie Siegel does say it's actually being overly optimistic can actually have consequences too. So if you are diagnosed with cancer or any terminal illness, the overly exaggerated optimist might actually deny it and just say, "Oh, everything's fine." No, and won't be able to actually feel that emotion of fear. And it's okay. It's okay to feel the emotion of fear. And it's when you indulge in it and you swim in it and you feel like you're a victim as a result of it. No, but the overly exaggerated optimist will oftentimes deny it. And they've discovered that those types of people are actually worse than pessimists, because at least a pessimist will admit, and they admit and feel the emotion of fear, of loneliness, of scarcity, whatever it might be, of boredom or lonely, whatever it might be, or whatever negative emotion they're feeling. Whereas an overly exaggerated optimist might go, "Oh no, everything's fine. I don't know what you're talking about." And actually, because of denying it, it brings death into their life.
It's weird because I'm an optimist, but I also really am. I keep my eyes peeled for all the issues in my life so that I can fix them. And I do it in an optimistic way. Like, what can I clean up? I have the ability to work on this. I have the ability to change. And so I'm optimistically pessimistic, if that makes sense. And,
yes.
And like, if you're naive, then your life will never change. And you'll keep sort of going through problems and issues and making mistakes that you never really know where they're coming from. It's like sweeping dust under the rug. Eventually it's gonna like come back to haunt you somehow.
Yes, of course.
Truthfully, I've tried that. When I started my mission back in my mid-20s, I was all positive, and then were things going right? Eventually, I mean, everyone's watched or read the book The Secret. They're like, oh, just think positive thoughts and everything's going to go well. And I asked people, how many people in my audiences watched The Secret, applied it, and actually got a tangible result from it? And then that everything was fine. No, there's no problems left on the world. No, not a single person put up their hand. Now, there's some validity to that. There is. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not saying The Secret's bad, but that's a sort of, how should I say this without actually putting it down? I would say that's a juvenile or infantile way to start your journey. It's a good way to start, but there was a point when I was like, just being positive is not making my life better. I have to look at my problems. And a lot of people that are, we have to honor the optimist, the realist, and the pessimist in us, because I love the example of, if I open up a business and Cameron and I opened up a business and we're our eternal optimists and we're nothing but positive, and then we hired a accountant who is more of a realist / pessimist, and then we're all having these seminars about being positive, but the accountant's saying, listen, you don't have the numbers. These numbers don't work. And if you spend too much money, you're going to be out of business. Why you got to be so negative there? And we start judging him. He's actually not being negative. He's being he's saying, but the numbers show, unless you look at these numbers and sell the tickets for higher, you're going to be bankrupt. And that's not being negative. That's being real. And thank God, by the way, our bodies, our physical bodies have red blood cells, which think positive all day, which nourish and love like a mother. And thank God we have white blood cells that think pessimistically and negatively all day, because they're looking for disease. They're wanting to kill it. So we have both. It's the yin and the yang. We have to honor both. And if anything, people that are overly optimistic, people that are overly positive, that is a sign of, as you said, it's naivete as well as emotional immaturity. And what you said is real. You're optimistic. You're optimistically pessimistic. I would say, just as I think it was the Dalai Lama who said, you got to be selfishly unselfish, meaning you take care of yourself, honor yourself, love yourself, so that you can be a greater vessel, a greater container for the love to flow through you, and have a greater receptivity to love and power in your life. And so I think I wanted to pinpoint the positives of being an optimist, but not carry on this shadow that says I'm going to be optimist all day and not look at my problems. No, look, it's not negative to say you've got a problem. It's negative to say you've got a problem and then follow that up with, I can't do anything about it. I'm just made that way. That's negative. But when you say, I've got a problem of drinking or over smoking, overeating, I got a problem in my relationships, and identifying the problem, that's not being negative. That's being real. That's honoring the realist in you. And then you go to work, you activate the optimist and say, I'm going to be the one to change it. I'm going to be 100% responsible to change it. That's when you got to turn on the optimist. And so I think this has been a great episode. What do you think there, Cam?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Let's, do you want to recap those 2 reasons?
The 3 reasons. 3 reasons.
Sorry, the 3 reasons.
No, that's okay, dude. The 3 reasons to be an optimist is an optimist will over-exaggerate their evaluation of themselves, and even if they over-exaggerate, they'll continue to try again. Whereas the pessimist will be very accurate in their evaluation of the performance, but they will never try again, according to studies. Optimists are healthier physically than pessimists, emotionally and physically. And an optimist will see an opportunity in every calamity, whereas a pessimist will see a calamity in every opportunity, as Winston Churchill said. So, guys, I really hope you guys got a lot from this program, from this podcast, from this particular episode. If you love it, join it. Comment, ask, subscribe to it on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. For the people that are joined live or on passively downloads on iTunes or whatever, we honor you. We hope you guys are making daily upgrades to the best self, and then sharing that best self with other people, as Cameron and I are on the show for you, through you, as you, with you on this journey of partnership. So to your continued upgrade and evolution, live it up with power, purpose, and passion. God bless you guys. Have an amazing day.